Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Tuesday, November 19th at 9 a.m. Mountain Time 2019. It's a balmy 15 degrees as I do the podcast, and the models are showing heavy snow moving west to east over the northern tier of the U.S. Northern U.S. will see more snow. All the way down into southern Arizona, by the way. But first, the Northwest alerts and snowfall forecast for Montana, Butte, Helena, Caspell, Havre, Scobie, Glasgow. And this will be moving east throughout the day and dropping down into Wyoming and into Colorado. Take a look at that low pressure system. So this is what we have to look forward to as we head to the end of the work week. By tomorrow, the snow will start to move to the upper Midwest. The snow will continue through Wednesday and Thursday morning. By the afternoon, much of the snow will have moved out, with the exception of a few isolated snow showers for Michigan. Yes. Here's where PG&E blackouts will start Wednesday. Over 303,000 people, which is expected to affect up to almost a million. If you consider each customer represents 3 people, in 25 counties will be purposely blacked out once again. 1 to 2 feet of snow for the Southwest this week, according to Joel Gratz. 24 inches of snow possible in Colorado. We need it, but we're not ready, and we're going to continue to get ready all day. Skiers and snowboarders drop into the Alberta Face at Wolf Creek. That's where I am at. Take a look. As the ski season opened early. Now, following a dry Monday and Tuesday, another storm cycle will be moving into Colorado, bringing big snowfall. Our alerts are already up. Winter storm warning is in effect for 12 to 30 inches of snow, expected above 8,500. That's right at Oppenheimer Ranch. We're at 84 to 95 there. So, the firewood season up at the high elevations will be over tomorrow, according to our forecast. Where are we? Snow to streak from the Rockies to the upper Midwest at midweek. Part of the same storm is set to bring beneficial rain to Southern California. In that drier area, they're going to get saturated all the way down through the deserts. Heads up, Joshua Tree. You're about to get flooded. The mild weather takes a turn for the worse as snow and cold tracks our way in Montana. Montana was experiencing some balmy weather, and they're about to get a snow boom. Same thing happening up in Alaska, where record heat was set the same day that record snow was set. Did you hear about this? I'm sure you have. Saturday was something special in the world of weather. Some much-needed snow piled up in Anchorage, Alaska, enough to set a record. In fact, 8.4 inches of snow beat out the previous 8.3. But that was also a record amount of water content for the day. But the more impressive record was the temperature. 45 degrees while it all began. Tied the old record for back in 1967. So they had a record high and then a record snow in the same day in Alaska. Grand solar minimum much? There are your forecast models getting heavy. We're only out until next Thursday here, 230 hours out, and it looks like a heavy system moving through the upper Midwest next week. Right there. It's going to be pummeling most of the West, the Sierras, all of the Rockies, and then the upper Midwest. That's the preliminary. But there's, right now, winter storm watches and warnings in over a dozen states for your next 24 hours. Hours of powers. Wintry mix over northern New England. Heavy rainfall and flash flooding. Threat over the desert southwest. A wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain is expected over northern New England today. Hazardous travel conditions are likely to develop over the western U.S. The remnants of Tropical Storm Raymond will bring the potential for heavy rainfall, flash flooding over the desert southwest into Wednesday. Critical fire weather conditions will develop across California through midweek, and they will be getting some rain helping with that. Look at your local storm watches and warnings throughout New England. Winter storm watches and warnings in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, northern New Mexico, and the Sierras. Heads up. Look at the high winds in northern Cali. That's why they're shutting the power down. That's what they say. Winter forecast, much of Canada is in for a harsh season ahead. And that means polar vortex. Let's listen.
Canada, we've got it here for you. A look at the Weather Network's winter forecast. The term polar vortex is going to be making a return, and that means colder than normal temperatures will be targeting much of central Canada.
You heard it here first, barely. Colder temperatures in the polar vortex are going to kick you right in the arse, right in the center of Canada. There might be some warm conditions over here in Vancouver, but that's it. If you're in Winnipeg, you're in the center of the crosshairs. Heads up, Regina. It's not looking fine. While cold weather hasn't locked in yet, much of Canada is in for a harsh winter. Near normal or colder than normal temperatures are expected for most of the country, especially the central Craton. The only regions where temperatures are expected to tip to the mild side near the Atlantic and the Pacific coastlines. That's a Canadian cold boom. Heavy snow in the Alps causes avalanches and travel disruptions. Schools and roads were closed on Monday in Austria as heavy snow and rains caused disruptions across the region. One man was killed and 2 women were rescued by firefighters after their house was destroyed in a mudslide. We showed you some Italian avalanche footage just the other day. And it's continuing as predicted. Arctic sea ice coverage shrinks to record low, according to NOAA, who knows nothing. Now, if you read this article, it talks about one day in October where we had record low, and it must be this little blip here, this little blip over here. But we're far from norms. These are multi-decadal norms, and just 2 years ago, this gray area shrunk on purpose to scare you. When if they had left the gray area in the 30-year average, it would be right in the 30-year average. But what they've done is they removed the colder past so that you can have a warming future. So this article is a sharticle. It doesn't really talk about ice. It goes back into hot records and polar bears and other dumb stuff because it is propaganda. It is not science. You're looking at science here. These are the facts that ice is in multi-decadal norm. It's about to connect with the other side of the ocean here. And up in the Arctic Ocean, once this connects, these numbers are going to skyrocket into record highs because there will be ice building all the way from Svalbard. And remember, last year the ice was more over here towards Alaska. Now it's in the central region where we're going to see some record ice totals this year as far as thickness and volume. Now let's talk about the harvest from hell. 2.7 million acres of Canadian canola left frozen in the field. It may have something to do with the total snow mass for the Northern Hemisphere, excluding the mountains. As of yesterday, we are 500 gigatons above normal. 400 actually, 450. But we're hell a ton. That is over 50% higher than normal. And we're still outside of the box, if you want to talk about boxes. Seismic update, no quakes of note. All is quiet on the Western Front. KP is at 0, and we're psychic. Worldwide volcano news update. Standard explosions to the 20,000-foot range. One quick note here, White Island Volcano New Zealand activity update. Background activity increases further. We have increased activity at White Island Volcano in New Zealand, and we also have increased activity at Shinmoldake. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on the volcanic activity, especially because we're coming off a KP0 day or so. Almost 2 days of KP0 here. And that leads to psychological disturbances and people acting crazy. Fresno backyard shooting killed 4, police say. This happened yesterday during KP0. Apparently, some people just decided to shoot up a football party. Suspect still at large. Another shooting at a Walmart parking lot left 2 men and a woman dead. People just don't know how to act. And Hong Kong police clashed with protesters yesterday.
If the protesters do not initiate the use of force, the police will not initiate the use of force.
Early Monday, the university's president appealed to protesters to abandon violence. But as some students attempted to leave the campus, They retreated in the face of approaching law enforcement. It's the culmination of a days-long standoff. Police armed with riot gear, tear gas, and water cannons. And students stationed behind homemade barricades, equipped with makeshift catapults, slingshots, and petrol bombs. At one point, protesters forced a police vehicle to turn back after hitting it with a flurry of explosive fire. Some were even seen with bows and arrows, and photos show an arrow piercing an officer's leg. These protesters attacked an ambulance in an effort to free an injured woman who was also under arrest. And this protester, identified only as Matthew, said, "I do want to leave, but I won't, because there are still a lot of people here, and it is not safe." Now, this standoff has been going on for more than 24 hours. More than 40 people have been arrested. This university, along with colleges across this territory, are closed tomorrow.
And it's not over yet. The Hong Kong protesters have barricaded themselves
inside a Hong Kong university in a tense standoff with police. They're facing desperate conditions after fighting police yesterday with Molotov cocktails, catapults, and bows and arrows. Ramy Inocencio is just outside that university. So, Ramy, good morning. As nightfall comes, what's the situation there?
Good morning. Yes, we are just outside the campus of Polytechnic University, right behind me here, and just trying to figure out what's been happening. Right now, we're trying to know how many people are inside. It's estimated maybe 100 to 200 protesters are there, but it really is tough to know because the several buildings are basically a labyrinth of rooms and corridors and corners that people can try to hide if police did really try to raid the campus. So it really is impossible to know.
As you can see, democracy dies in the dark. That's why we're illuminating it. Third case of plague linked to Black Death found in China after hunter eats wild rabbit. Now, if this plague is in our wild game and we need to go hunt them, think about it. Is the pandemic starting? Why are all these articles about the Black Death coming out in days? Are they going to do it on purpose? It's anyone's guess. Possibility of life. Scientists map Saturn's exotic moon Titan. This is coming from Reuters. Scientists on Monday unveiled the first global geologic map of Saturn's moon Titan, including vast plains of dunes and frozen organic material, lakes of liquid methane. This is illuminating an exotic world considered a strong candidate in the search of life. Is this more soft disclosure? There's more of it. Water vapor was detected on Jupiter's moon Europa, adding intrigue to the potential for life. They found water vapor in the atmosphere. Oh, the narrative. Meth, we're on it. According to South Dakota, in their new campaign, South Dakotans are all on meth. That didn't work out very well. Epic fail. Do you know how to build a fire on snow? If not, read the blog. Pass or fail, it could be your life. The solitude of a winter night beckons. But will our writers' attempts to stay warm be a roaring success or a sputtering failure? If you don't know how to light a fire on snow, please read the article. It could save your life. Now, if you don't know about Aaron and Melissa Dykes, come check out their new video, The Myth of Extinction Rebellion. It's almost 2 hours long, jam-packed of cultish and other esoteric information that you need to know. Extinction Rebellion is not a grassroots movement like March Against Monsanto. It is a paid-for globalist agenda to continue to brainwash the sheep further and further into the narrative, which will corral them into smart cities and connect them to the Borg. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing. The harvest from hell is just beginning. Are you preparing? We love each and every one of you. Thanks to our one-time donors. Snow's coming to my backyard. It's Patreon Appreciation Day. I'll be putting up a thank you video to all of our Patreons over there. Be safe.